Advocating for myself, never taking no for an answer. Yes, I'm a kid from Brooklyn. Yes, I'm 17, but I'm telling you I demand more. I'm telling you that although I don't know my major, although I'm not sure of my program of interest, I feel connected to this one thing. And I don't know how to translate it to you, advisor. I don't know how to tell you, EOP director, but I feel that I'm drawn to something. Can you, anybody with me? That I feel that I have something going. I can't explain to you, and no, it's not social work. No, it's not psychology. I know it sounds similar, but I got something that I want to do with people that I don't think it looks traditional. I've never been traditional, right? I changed my major 3 times. I told you guys. I'm the first person in my family to attend college. I wanted to go 4 years and graduate with my friends, but I had to take a half semester. You know how discouraging that was? Everybody walking, and I got to take 1 more in December. Who wants to graduate in winter? Can we all say commonalities on 3? 1, 2, 3.
Commonalities.
That's good. I believe that we are more alike than different. By the end of this presentation, I hope that you will learn about personal narratives of first-gen students, challenges faced by first-gen students, and also some strategies for supporting. Sounds good? I am also a first-generation college student and graduate, and so I understand what it means to go to school and not have anyone home who has went to school, not have anyone to talk to about the challenges you're going through. You guys did great. I'm about to make you guys feel you guys did too formal. What does it mean to be a first-generation college student? So my name is John Johnson, originally from Brooklyn, New York. Coming out to school was big for me in Albany, New York, the capital district, and where I did 4.5 years pursuing my degree, changed my life. I took every year extremely serious. But before I get there, I do want to just give thanks to the Most High God, which I believe in, has me here today through a lot of trials and stuff. It's very important for me to connect to something bigger than myself. And so also I want to give thanks to Dr. Carol, who was working with me as a point of contact to, put this together. All right. And so we can shout you guys out. Thank you guys for, come on, we can do better than that. We can do better than that. So thank you guys. That's a little about me. College meant a lot to me. I'm an opportunity program alumni. I'm an advocate for students. I am a believer that we are here for a purpose. And so I try to share that story with all those who come into contact. Something that, my college opportunity afforded me to do was travel to Africa where I stayed for 2 months in a village. Changed my entire life through my opportunity program, but also through me advocating for myself and using my college opportunity to the max. I believe in maximizing your experience, not taking no for an answer, pushing the needle, right? And really just challenging yourself. I am also a first-generation college student and graduate. And so I understand what it means to go to school and not have anyone home who has went to school, not have anyone to talk to about the challenges you're going through, having a 40-page research paper as a senior seminar and wondering how in the world am I going to finish? At my senior year, I'm ready to go home. I done worked so hard. You're going to put this on me right now? Like, you got to get a B or above, and feeling the pressures of financial load and workload and feeling like I still need to provide, and having FAFSA be very stressful for me and going through the verification process and bringing my documents home to mom and knowing that she didn't know how to read those things. Mom, can you get the income sheets from last year? Income? What do you mean? I don't have that close by. So these are some challenges that I went through and had to overcome to go through my college experience. And so I'm hoping I can highlight some of those for you all today, right? I'm hoping that today is a life-changing experience for you and that you'll be able to leave changed than how you came in. This won't be able to happen if we don't respect our voices, respect each other, and engage to the best of our ability. All right, so to help set the tone here, I have a story that I want to share with you all right? If you're still with me and you're feeling good, can I see a thumbs up? You guys good? Awesome. This woman was born in Port of Spain Hospital in the twin island of Trinidad and Tobago. She was raised specifically in Glamorgan, which is a very small village in Tobago. As a baby, she was found on the steps of a neighbor's porch after her young dad left her behind, not feeling fully prepared to care for her. The neighbors, knowing the dad's mother, got the baby over to her house where the baby would grow up to help the grandma around the house. She went to school in Pembroke, and here's the house where she grew up. She would help with tasks after school such as tying up goats, see the goat on the staircase there, pigs, cooking, cleaning the yard, and more. Well, years passed, and this same young girl became frustrated with seeing and hearing friends share stories about their parents and wanted to find her own. Her quest to do so landed her in the United States after her aunt offered her a better life. Well, feeling like her parents didn't want her and determined to create a better life for herself, this young woman followed her aunt, who was a netball coach at the time, which is similar to basketball in Trinidad, to the States where she actually played on her team for a short while. She was only 15 years old. Arriving to the country as a young immigrant quickly presented its challenges. Undeterred, the woman set out again in search of her own destiny. Years passed and the woman had moved out and began making way for herself in the U.S. But now, with a small family of her own, 2 daughters and now expecting a 3rd child, the woman was thrilled to be bringing new life into her world. But then, something life-changing happened. Coming out of a general checkup, the doctor notified this woman that the baby had no heartbeat. 4 months pregnant, the woman was given 2 options: have a stillbirth or seek herbal help. Frantic and distraught, the woman didn't know where to turn. But thanks to a friend and divine timing, the woman found herself in a church where an elderly matriarchal pastor offered to pray and fast with the woman. Reluctant and scared to the process, the woman agreed to go through with it. And it was during this time that baby with no heartbeat committed its first heartbeat. Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to share with you that baby was me. The story about that woman is a story about my mother. A first generation woman coming from Trinidad. And my pause are raised and sharing this with you all. This is my first time sharing this piece in a presentation. It's actually my first time putting a story about my mom. I can almost cry here, but it's a story that's impactful to me, and I didn't always share it because I didn't know how. I didn't think I'd be received. Just too concerned about how it might come off versus how I felt about sharing. So I share this not to harp on my story per se, but to show you all an example of what decisions can do for you. Because of my mom's decisions to find love where she didn't get it, to create families where she didn't feel she had it, to keep going and have this quest to come into an unknown country and set a life up for herself. I'm one of 8. She went on to have 8 kids, and I was her first son. This decision led me to achieve my bachelor's degree, which I share with you all as a first-generation graduate. What does it mean to be a first-generation college student? Just some quick points here. First in your family to attend college. Neither parent has a 4-year degree. There's unspoken expectations to achieve new milestones and higher heights. By show of hands, are there first-generation students actually in here, either staff or students? Okay, beautiful. Second generation, maybe the second in your family, third. Okay. But today we're focusing on some of those pressures that exist, and even sometimes you don't have to be first gen to relate to what we'll speak about. All right? And then the first one to deal with all of the stress, struggles, and I put success that comes with pursuing and potentially graduating. Potentially. It's not always guaranteed. I was asked to speak about a student, but it made me think as preparing this presentation, what about the graduate? Like, I've had some experiences in the real world and in the corporate world and in the workforce that transferred on. I thought that by getting my degree, I would be freed from some of the shackles that I faced in college. And instead, they transferred over and I had to figure out how to deal with them. And still today, I'm figuring out. Why is it important to understand the unique challenges faced by first gen? Really quick, studies show that around 50% of all students attending college are the first in their family to do so. So for every 2, there's one out of the 2 is going to be first, right? I put, they can be synonymously referred to as low income, but are not the same. Has anyone ever heard the connection between low income and first gen? You guys ever heard that? I see some heads nodding. Studies show about 50% of all first gen are from low income families. So half of all students are first gen, and then half of those are low income, is what the data is showing. They are synonymously referred to. They're not that. In other words, you can struggle with identity as a first generation student. People are trying to box you in, and maybe sometimes we relate to that in one way or another. And then lastly, this may lead to a sort of hero complex where first gen students feel they need to save the family, community, institution, etc. I put this here for a bit of a laugh. You know what they say it will feel like, right? You got your adult stamp. Anybody relate? I see some smiles, yeah. Got your adult stamp. She's happy. Got the money, right? This here suggests maybe a job. You got some files, and you got the institution or, representative, whoever that is, right, standing behind you and supporting. And I want to invite the staff really quick. Can you all relate to you guys are on the other side. We're on the other side, right? Can you all relate to maybe some of this, how it sounded or, yeah? right? And so, real respect for our staff, because these are our, pillars and those folks we can look to for an example of, right, where we can head to versus what they don't say it will feel like. Early burnout, housing insecurity, lack of sense of belonging. The purpose of this exercise is to identify our commonalities. Can we all say commonalities on 3? 1, 2, 3. Commonalities. That's good. I believe that we are more alike than different.
I need motivation to finish strong as a first-gen college student.
Awesome.
I feel like I have the opportunity to do something great here.
There are times where I feel I am not treated equal to my counterparts on campus.
I feel like there is an extra pressure on me to make the family proud.
Yeah.
I can't talk to anyone at home too much about my experience because they don't understand.
The scholarship that helped me get here doesn't tell my full story.
Sometimes experience self-doubt because I am the first to attend college.
It's important that we share these stories and that people who overstep apologize or acknowledge. It's not right sometimes, the barriers that we face and that we feel for things that we didn't even get a chance to explain. Identities, pieces of our identity that are made for us. I belong here, right? Isaac had a word earlier. He said, I had to get to a point where I didn't feel bad for being Mexican. That's what he said earlier today at lunch. I said, wow, that's profound. Right. Can we clap it up for everyone that shared? I want to encourage you, if you're someone who's thinking that, how can I overcome the barriers? How can I go through and break these limits that are on me? I want to encourage you that it's possible. You know your real limit, right? The impact that these same challenges have on student success and retention rates are especially important, right? Studies show 1 in 3 students leave college within the first 3 years.
I remember my EOP counselor, my very first semester was the best semester I did. I got a 3.94 GPA. Woo. I had 1 A minus, and my counselor was like, go to your professor and see if you can get an A because I want all the kids that have 4.0s to be all my students. Seeing that I could do so well academically, because I was like an average student. I was like maybe like mid-80s, maybe lower 80s most of the time. The fact that I achieved it so high and I got that recognition, I almost felt like I was a disappointment when I didn't do it on a regular basis.
Wow.
So
For me, I think it was you don't know what you don't know. Like I didn't know EOP existed going into college. I didn't know until I was a couple years in, and I wish I had because I would have benefited so much from it.
Yeah.
I ended up working in EOP as a professional, and so I really look sort of my whole career path is paying it forward and helping others navigate, the struggles that I faced as a student.
I'm thinking of when I was told I had to take an extra semester. And so full transparency, I changed my major 3 times, like once every year. And it was because I felt led of what I want to do, which is connecting with people and talking with people. I told my EOP counselor during our interview, no disrespect, but I'm connected to the work you're doing. I feel that I can do. You connect with that?
I was trying to tell you the screen.
Oh, that's good too. Got you. Let's see what we got. Is that me? Let's see. I promise I had the other half of the presentation.
Like for me, being a first generation student, my experience, like I didn't have all that like academic support.
Gotcha.
Like I applied to be an EOP student, but I didn't get it. So like the way I was, I had to make sure I was the exception. Like I couldn't fail because there was nobody there to like kind of pick me up. It was different from like high school, what I was used to, as far as like my parents are seeing my report card and now they're telling me, you need to do this, you need to do that. It was just more like me having to do it by myself.
For sure.
And I don't want to take away from my first year experience because I did have like an advisor who was pretty much like really on top of me as far as like we met frequently, but it was after that.
So thank you all for sharing. I'm just looking at the commonalities too, the differences, and the common themes going on. It sounds like you all had to advocate for yourself at some point, know the resources, right? Maximize your experience. And so I did become a small business owner recently with my LLC, as John Johnson speaks. I appreciate that. Definitely a huge accomplishment for me. As we know, first generation, following that thread, sometimes accomplishments like first business owner in the family comes not too far after. Or if I mentioned that because the curriculum that we're going to be sharing is going to be built off 3 principles, which is helping folks with effective communication strategies, self-advocacy skills, and servant leadership, right? A lot of the things I learned to help me through college and now through life. How to effectively communicate yourself. In today's world, so important with these bad boys, right? So important of how you communicate, whether that's body language, verbal, nonverbal, relationships, parents, right? It took a lot for me to have phone calls with my mom during school telling me about my younger siblings back at home. What's going on in Brooklyn? As I mentioned, I'm the oldest boy. So that sounds all good when we say the story, but what it really turns out to be in a single parent household is that you play the father. Ooh, the room got quiet. You play the father, but hold on, you also play the husband. That's deep, because what you do is overextend yourself in areas where you don't belong. But it's this identity, and because it hasn't been done before, I'm from Brooklyn, New York, guys, full transparency. I'm from the projects, low-income housing. And I know growing up, college wasn't in the conversation. If there's any message I can leave with you all is to own your story, own your destiny. That's a lot of what I stand for, to advocate for yourself to the very end. Your story is okay. I want to give you agency to your belief, to your story, to your identity, right? Whether it's first gen, second gen, third gen, this is just a mechanism for us to look at life, right? College, hopefully you realize, is preparing you for life, or it should be. Some of those pressures became very, very critical to my success even after college, because I then had to have very important conversations with my mom to say, I feel that my boundaries are being overstepped. Ooh, that's hard. It's all fun and games until you have to come at the person you love to defend what you stand for. And that can look a lot of different ways, guys. That may be your partner. That may be a colleague. That may be a mentor, a professor, a student, right? That flashcard is a metaphor. Just like that flashcard that was face down, right, until I asked you to unturn it, it's the same way we each have our stories until you ask someone to unturn their story, give them a place, right? We created a space in here. I'm encouraging you to have certain dialogues. Do I always create spaces and dress up in a tie and shirt and No, I'll be honest with you, right? But what I always found passion in is inviting and including others' voices into the conversation. I could sit here and tell you all of the titles I have, but it means nothing if it didn't have the right value through it. The common thread for me was advocating for people, including voices. That's the only reason I stepped up student government. It meant so much to create a spirit week where each year was asked to create an event for your class. Let's really embody what we're talking about, right? But other than that, thank you all so much. Thank you all so much. Oh, this was amazing.
So one of my major highlights of this presentation was the way the presentation incorporated current students at this college and talking about their first year experience. I really enjoyed that, being able to get a sense of who our students are.
One of the highlights for me was the commonality exercise to really connect some of the students and the staff based on some shared experiences. It was really interesting to see that we face a lot of similar struggles as first-gen students, no matter your generation. Would I recommend? 1,000%.
Something I definitely appreciated from the presentation was just the conversation itself about first-generation students. I definitely appreciate just having the conversation and seeing the commonality between the staff who were first-generation students to now some current students who are first-generation or not.
One of my most highlight that I like about this presentation is when you talk about your mom, because a lot of us can relate about that, especially when we're like international and first generation, especially when you come into America. I love like how you related and talk about your mom back when and how she came here being the first time. What I would like more of is for you to highlight is about yourself. Okay, what is your experience as a college student? Like, what did you face? What was the challenges? What was the struggle? I would like more if you were to go in depth about that. And definitely I would recommend John because he's fantastic, fabulous. Like he was able to connect with the student, talk to the students, even knows their names. So yeah.
Ooh, can I do Thank you so much. I need to see y'all big. You guys did great. Oh man. I was like, I'm about to give you guys for you guys did too formal. That was so sophisticated. That was sharp.
But for your first time saying a personal story,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
I'm thinking of when I was told I had to take an extra semester. And like, so full transparency, I changed my major 3 times, like once every year. I belong here, right? Isaac had a word earlier. He said, I had to get to a point where I didn't feel bad for being Mexican. That's what he said earlier today at lunch. I said, wow, that's profound.
I really look sort of my whole career path is paying it forward and helping others navigate, the struggles that I face as a student.
I had to make sure I was the exception. Like I couldn't fail because there was nobody there to like kind of pick me up. And I don't want to take away from my first year experience because I did have like an advisor who was pretty much like really on top of me as far as like we met frequently, but it was after that.
There are times where I feel I am not treated equal to my counterparts on campus.
I feel like there is an extra pressure on me to make the family proud.
Right. Can we clap it up for everyone that shared? If there's any message I can leave with you all, is to own your story, own your destiny. That's a lot of what I stand for, to advocate for yourself to the very end. Your story is okay. I want to give you agency to your beliefs, to your story, to your identity, right? Whether it's first gen, second gen, third gen, this is just a mechanism for us to look at life. Right? College, hopefully you realize, is preparing you for life. Or it should be.
ScottyC got this one.